What's going on, everybody? Thank you for coming back to the channel. Greatly appreciate you. Another quick thought here. Seagull, undecided voters. What's going on? What is it that you are waiting for? How can you be undecided today in this of all? What do you need? What is it that you want to see? You've seen them for years. You've seen them on interviews. You've seen them on podcasts. You've seen them on online. You've seen the campaign ads. You've heard them. What is it that you need? Because here's the thing. You might be like, oh, I don't know her very well. All right. You know him real well. You know him enough in the last 9 to 10 years to know whether or not you don't like him, you like him, or you love. You got a truck with a bunch of decals and 46 flags. You should know where you stand on this guy and this woman by this point. They've done so many things. Do they have to be on certain podcasts? Like, do they got to be on more podcasts that you listen to specifically? Do they got to do like a sex podcast called Two Girls, Four Mics, where they sit around talking about the sexual positions they like doing in Chevys? Oh, when I'm in a Malibu, I like doing the Toledo toe touch. Do they got to go on the Ding Dong Boys? The four men that sit with their feet in Jell-O while they sit there and do TikTok reactions? Do they got to go on a true crime podcast, Jake's Graveyard, where they each give an hour-long breakdown about their thoughts on the Dahmer atrocities? What is it that they got to do now? Maybe they got to do more TV. Maybe she's got to have a show on NBC called The Employee, and every week she gets people to go out there and do random tasks in the city, and then they come upstairs, and at the end of the show, she's like, you're hired. Maybe they got to do an episode of Chopped. Maybe they'll do an episode of Chopped where it's an all-American episode. Sea to Shining Sea episode where they each have to make an American meal. The appetizer, wings, the main, big boy burger with 4 types of American cheese and a side of freedom fries. And for dessert, it's grandma's apple pie with a tall bucket. A cup so big it cannot fit in a Ford Explorer. You have to remove the passenger seat to fit this giant cup of Mountain Dew Blue Crush. And then it's judged by 3 members of the Supreme Court. What do they have to do? What are you waiting to see? Do they got to go on The Masked Singer? Maybe you're like, I like The Masked Singer. Can they just go on The Masked Singer? I can't listen to all their stuff. If they could just go on The Masked Singer and dress like a bee or a frog and sing some Adele hits, then I could finally get to know them on a personal level. Hey, Groundhog, why don't you tell us something about yourself? Well, electric boats are heavy, and if they sink and there's a shark, they sink, the boat sinks, and the water becomes electric. Does it become electric? And what if there's a shark, and you stand there and get electrocuted, or you jump out and be eaten by a shark? I would choose electrocution. Wonder who that is, Romney? What is it that you need to see them do? Maybe it's sporting stuff. Maybe you need a home run derby. Maybe you need to see them sock dingers. Whoever can hit 10 balls over the green monster first, they can lead the free world. Maybe they got to do a Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Whoever can eat 47 hot dogs first gets my vote. I'm waiting to see who can eat 47 hot dogs. Maybe a plank contest. Who can get to 2 minutes? Maybe a deadlift. Caber toss. Maybe they got to be on Call of Duty. They each get a headset, learn some slurs, and run around a favela with you holding an imaginary AK-47. What is it that you need them to do to not be undecided at this point, this far into an election? Maybe you're like, look, I just need regular things. Maybe you want to see them rank your favorite movies. You give them a list of your favorite movies, and you let them tell you what they feel about Trolls 2. Maybe you want to follow them into a Dairy Queen and see whether or not they're a hot eats or a cool treats person. What kind of blizzards do they eat? Do they like ice cream? Do they get brain freeze the same way that I, a lone member of society, does? Maybe you need like a way smaller deal. You just want to see how they come into your house and what they do first. And whatever they do first, you judge them on. Like let's say one of them walks in your house, sits on the couch, turns on Netflix. You're like, whoa, that's what I do. Get my vote. What do you need to see them do at this point in time today? Dear God, God. Like, what else are you that if somebody asked you something like, hey, do you want to hang out on Saturday? You're like, look, I'm going to need 48 Saturdays before I can decide whether or not I can hang out with you on the 49th one. Undecided. At this point in time, what do you need? Are you going to wait? Is this like a high school test? You're going to wait to see what each of their last tweets are and then just sprint down to the ballot box? Hey, are they still open? I don't want to trip over my pajama pants. What is it that you are waiting for?